just help out as much as we can. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of talk about this track and give you what I consider to be some useful tools about what we're going to be talking about. And then I want Brad's on mute right now because he's, I think, answering an email or something. But and then Brad's going to talk a little bit about some of the problems with the document object model with JavaScript and how to overcome that. And then we'll be done. So I think this will be probably a pretty quick meeting today. I know we're scheduled for an hour, but I imagine we'll be done in like a half an hour or so. So where this came from was we wanted to learn JavaScript, and we've experimented with different ways of learning JavaScript and teaching JavaScript to developers, and we really struggled with the right way of doing it. And then we came across this blog post, and it was very well thought out, and we really liked the agenda, and we thought, well, it would be fun to go over this with developers and to do it kind of in the timeline that they originally outlined. So we like this 8-week track. It's a hard track, and what I mean by a hard track is typically when we've read books with a bunch of people before, we really only make them read 100 pages a month, and 100 pages a month can be done in about 4 hours a month, which we think is like super, super easy. But this track, if you want to be successful doing it, I think you're going to have to set aside about an hour a day to learn JavaScript, which is significant. And I realize that for the 7 of us, setting aside an hour a day when we're already like super busy trying to work and take care of kids and go on dates or surf or hike or whatever we do. I know that an hour a day is a significant dedication, but I think that if you commit to doing this for an hour a day, one, you'll keep up with us over the next 2 months. That we're going to meet in September and then again in October on this. And two, at the end of it, you'll be rewarded with having a new skill under your belt. So I would challenge you to really commit that hour a day and do the outline exactly the way he's outlined it here. So that means that between now and the time we meet again, we'll be doing everything underneath, and let me know if you can't see my screen, but we'll be doing everything underneath weeks 1 and 2, so the introduction, data types, expressions, and operators. And it also means we'll be doing everything under weeks 3 and 4, objects, arrays, functions, the DOM, and Jquery. So that's a hard track I'm asking you to do, and I realize you're going to have to work hard, but I think you're going to really enjoy it. So a couple of things. The first thing is we had a choice between 2 books that we could use. We could either use Professional JavaScript for Web Developers, or we could use JavaScript, the Definitive Guide. And he says you can use either and learn the same material, but in order for us to kind of be on the same page, we had to choose one. So we chose Professional JavaScript for Web Developers, which is found here. Now, these Amazon links are actually referral links. So if you buy this book through our referral links, it goes back to the author of the blog post, which I think because of his effort and his passion for teaching JavaScript, he probably deserves the referral. So if you want to buy the book, use the link in the blog post and then go there. And you can see 69 reviews, 4.5 stars. Like, it's a good book, and I've purchased it already. So one thing I like about Kindle is that you can use the cloud reader. So even if you don't have a Kindle, I'm going to bring up the last book I read. Oh no, it's this one. Even if you don't have a Kindle, you can still buy the book on Kindle and go ahead and read it. And then the cool thing about the Kindle Cloud Reader is that during our meetings, I can bring this up, and if you say, hey, on this location, 2471, I had this question, then we're kind of all on the same page, and we'll know, what we're talking about. In addition to that, if you go to the book reader website on SQLpass.org, you'll notice that we have a Google group down here for join the Google group. And when we bring that Google group up, we have forums that we can kind of participate in. And those forums are super cool. Like Brad checks these forums, I check these forums. We have 2 other MVPs for Microsoft that check these forums. And we're happy to help you guys when you guys have questions or something that isn't really clear. So I encourage you to keep the conversation alive and active all throughout the month with any questions that you have. And hopefully we'll answer them, and if we're not responsive enough, you guys will answer each other's questions also. One last thing about the Kindle, one thing I like is if I highlight something here, like let's say that I like this, and I just highlight it and I say highlight, that highlight is synced with my Kindle Paperwhite that I read when I'm laying in bed right before I go to sleep. And it's also synced with my phone. And I find that if I read the Kindle on my phone, things are really, I don't know, I tend to read more. Well, one, my phone is waterproof, so I've got the Galaxy S5, so I'll read like everywhere. I don't care, outside, at the beach, anywhere. And two, because I have my phone with me all the time, I'll read, just at lunch or, all sorts of places. So you can get the Kindle app on your phone and read on your phone, all without buying a Kindle. And then these notes are synced. So you saw me highlight, but I can also add a note. I can say, what does this mean? And then this is helpful so that when we have our meeting next month, if you're wondering like, oh, I wonder, what I had questions about, you can see all of your marks and notes in one location. So if something caught your eye or you had a note about something, you can just see the list, double click on it, and then when you click on it, it takes you right to that location, which is pretty handy. Okay.
It's like you should teach a
So
class
that's
on
the
Kindle
Kindle.
or something.
Any questions so far? Oh, well, I don't mean to like pitch the Kindle. I mean, you guys can get I'm probably pretty sure people know how to steal the PDF or, torrent something, but I like the Kindle a lot. I read a lot. Yeah, you read a lot too, Brad.
Yeah, I read all the time.
Yeah, you use the Kindle for your library or you use something else?
Yeah, no, I have an older Kindle, but that's all that I use is the Kindle.
Yeah.
Although I will say for tech books, I'm not a big fan of Kindle just because the code examples and code snippets don't really show up very well on the older Kindles. So I tend to buy tech books in paperback still, but that's just me.
Yeah, what I've learned to do is like, because I'm using Windows, I'll just kind of, you know, dock the Kindle, here, and then I'll bring whatever code window I'm bringing up here. And in this case, the code window that I'm looking at is Plunker. So I like Plunker as a code editor. I don't know if you guys have ever used Plunker before, but it's found up here, plnkr.co. I'll bring it up full screen in a second, but I'll like Kindle on one side, Plunker on the other, and then if I see code that I want to test, like something like this, then I'll just put that in Plunker and uh, and play around there. So here, I'll bring Plunker up so you guys can see it. So Plunker might be pretty helpful for you guys to test out JavaScript. What happens when you go to Plunker? Let me go to the main site again so you can see what I did. So this is the main Plunker site. Plunker is a web-based JavaScript, HTML, and CSS editor, and it's free. And it's integrated with GitHub. So like if you create some project and you're super proud of it and you want to share it on GitHub, you can share it on GitHub if you'd like. But if I just click launch the editor, what you'll see is that by default, it gives me an index.html, which is my web page. It gives me a script.js, which is where all my JavaScript code can go, and it gives me a CSS style sheet. So I can right away just start coding on a little web project here. I mean, those are really the only 3 files you need for a simple web page. And then if I like my site so much that I want to open up an Azure websites or get some type of free hosting, I can download it as a zip, and then it copies those 3 files to me, and then I can just FTP them to whatever website I want to, and boom, my website's up and running. In addition, if I want to use Angular, I can just add Angular or Jquery or Bootstrap or any of the popular frameworks that you might want to use Knockout. Any of these frameworks can get added here, and then you can immediately start using them in your code. Now, we're not going to worry about those until week 3 and 4 when we start dealing with jQuery a little bit more. In addition to this, I can also look at a live preview. So it says, hello, Plunker. If I edited this script, I could say, hello, SQL Pass book readers, right? And then as I edit that, my little preview gets updated right here, which is kind of handy. And then if I open up like a document JS, no, I don't want to rename the script. I can just say, document.write, hey Brad, isn't Plunker cool, right? And then, semicolon and then I can just like run it anytime I want. So if I run it, oh, what's the J? Got a syntax error. There we go. Now notice also that syntax error kind of came up in Plunker too. Hey, document.write can be in a form of an eval. We'll look at that just a little bit. So if I like restore, I have an old Plunker and it restored it for me. And if I look at my live preview, you'll see that I wrote a whole bunch of JavaScript. Oh, I thought I did. I thought I wrote a bunch of JavaScript here, but maybe I didn't. But I wonder, oh, I lost my JavaScript. That's okay, I can rewrite it really quick. We can write all kinds of JavaScript in here, and what I want you guys to do is get in the habit of writing JavaScript here to test it out. Like we can say console.log, hey guys, this is the console. And then we can say, document.write, hey guys, this is the document. So the document is this HTML preview. It's injecting code from JavaScript into my HTML form, and we're seeing that HTML injection right here, right? You notice that those words aren't anywhere in the HTML document, right? So what's console.log doing? Well, in Chrome, if I hit F12, the console will come up, and you're seeing this like, hey guys, this is the console right here. Do you see that? So console.log will write things to the console down here, and these tools are really handy to get to know in the browser. Console.log is an excellent way of like testing variables without changing the output of your HTML document. So remember, the goal with JavaScript is we're probably doing something with the HTML document, right? That's 99% of the time when we use JavaScript, we're doing something with the document. And we might be, adding text, we might be highlighting something, we might be making something interactive, we might be bringing data back from a database, we might be calling a web service. There's like a million things we might be doing, but if we want to test like a variable value, like, oh, I modified something, did it work? Or I'm doing some type of conditional, how is that evaluating? We can drop that into console.log for like debugging and testing, and it might be, really helpful. So another cool thing I can do with Plunker that I like is I can collaborate. So I can say, hey, stream this Plunker. And then what I'll do is this stream right here, I'm just gonna put this into Brad. Let me see if I can. So Brad, go to that link that I just posted to you.
Okay.
And then go into my script.js and start typing.
Sorry, I missed that. Where'd you post it to me? Did you email me or IM me or what?
No, it was in chat. I just put it to organizers only in the GoToWebinar chat.
I didn't get that.
Oh, all right. Let me do something dangerous.
You can email it to me too. I signed into Plunker as well. I don't know if you can share it with me on Plunker.
So I gave you the link under Skype. I don't know if you have Skype.
All right. Yeah, that'll work.
Okay.
As soon as Skype wants to deliver it to me. There it is.
Boom. All right.
Okay.
Good.
So then I'm going to open up a new tab, go to the streamer, starting stream. Let's see how this works. Now what if I run this? So switch. Oh, I modified index HTML. I guess I wasn't on script.js, but I don't know. Are you able to see that now?
Yeah, go to script.js
Okay.
and modify something. Yeah. Okay, so it went green, right? And I can see your login, right? You see how over here on the right side, Brad's Plunker login is
Yeah.
Fufanadel. I think he logged in using Twitter. And then, yeah, hey, this is Brad, right? And I could watch him start typing in real time, so we can actually collaborate on these documents together. And
That's pretty neat.
yeah, yeah, it's pretty neat, right? And so if we like it, we can either sign into GitHub and post it there, and we'll have a little bit of source control, or we can download and deploy someplace. But it's a pretty neat little thing. And if I wanted it, like I said, one of the things I like about Plunker is that this whole thing is written in Angular. And Angular is a framework in JavaScript used to create single-page applications or thick JavaScript apps. So they're actually using the tools that that you can demo and learn using these tools. So it's kind of cool, I think. If you don't like Plunker and you want to try out JavaScript using something else, you can use Jsfiddle. So Jsfiddle is like the original guy that used to do things like this, right? And here in Jsfiddle, if I said console.log, this is Jsfiddle, and then I can go ahead and just run this. And then if I hit F12, I can say, hey, this is Jsfiddle, yeah. Or I can say document.write. And then run that, and you can see your results here if you're modifying HTML here. So Jsfiddle works an awful lot like Plunker. A lot of people really prefer that. Totally up to you which one you want to use. But there you go.
And I think the big thing about the thing I like about both of them actually is that they allow you to save your, so in Jsfiddle we call them fiddles, they allow you to save your fiddles. And so you'll notice when you're looking for help on Stack Overflow, for instance, and you post a question, a lot of times people will answer it by creating a fiddle and then saving it and giving you a link to that so that you can see a live example of the fix to your problem or a live example of how to answer your question, which I think is really useful. And you can do the same thing here on Plunker.
Right, and you just mentioned something else, which is Stack Overflow. So you guys might not be familiar with Stack Overflow, but Stack Overflow is like, it's vastly become the place where developers ask and answer questions and lurk and look at other people's asked and answered questions. And the way they do this is through this tag system. So if you look at tag JavaScript, you'll see that, it's just like a cloud tag, that this is very active. 54 seconds ago, 1 minute ago, 2 minutes ago, 5 minutes ago, right? 11 minutes ago. And if you have a question and you think like, oh, I have a question on document.write, and you can see, why is document.write considered a bad practice? And then an answer, right? So you can just search. Somebody's probably asked your question already. Or you can just ask it, and people are super responsive, and you'll get answers within minutes usually. And so when I'm learning something new, I like to go to Stack Exchange and ask questions. And then if I start seeing questions I've seen before, or I just happen to know the answer, I'll start answering them. Anyway, Stack Exchange is a really good place to gain mastery of a new language. I've been more active on it in the past than I have been recently, but I should probably get back on it. So I would prefer you ask your question in the Google group first so that we can kind of build a community and get to know each other, but also kind of use Stack Overflow as Stack Exchange is the job board. Stack Overflow is the developer forum. You can earn fake points. Those fake points give you street cred. Okay, the next thing is Code Academy. So if you don't have a Code Academy account, you need to sign up for one. Because part of the JavaScript is Sexy blog post is to go through some of the Code Academy classes. And there are several classes. The one you'll go through for sure is HTML and CSS. And then you'll also go through the JavaScript course, and you'll go through the Jquery course, and you'll go through the web project course. So those courses should not be used by themselves, but they can be used as part of like a wider idea here. And what happens when you use it is you actually go into the Code Academy editor. So you don't use Plunker or Jsfiddle. you actually come in here and it says, hey, let's see, it says, let's get warmed up by adding a title tag. So I added a title tag, Ike's favorite movies. In the body, create a paragraph with /p, and I say, Ike loves movies a ton. And then you can just click save and submit, and it says, hey, you did a great job, and you can go to the next lesson. So, so if you don't have a Code Academy account, go ahead and build one, and then be prepared to go through it, and then let us know if any of your code doesn't work. But one of the cool things I think is, like if you go to HTML Basics 2, if you have a problem, there's a Q&A forum link. I don't know if you can see that down here. Do you see that down here on the far left? And if you click that forum link, it opens up a new window and it says, hey, I've got, people have asked a lot of questions about that particular topic. And you can open up that topic and you can see if people answered, or if you'd like, you can answer for them. So there's Code Academy. Okay. And then I asked Brad to just kind of talk a little bit about something called the Document Object Model, or the DOM, which some of you might not have heard of before, but I thought I'd give Brad an opportunity to introduce the topic and then discuss some of the problems with it, because we're going to be correcting some of those problems in our agenda this month.
Sure. So actually, the page you're on is perfect if you just leave it there. When we talk about HTML and building a page, we do that by using HTML tags. So this question that Ike has up, there's a little code snippet there, and it shows a series of HTML tags, and that's actually a complete HTML page. It starts with what's called a doc type header, which is that first line, which we will learn about later, and then an opening HTML tag, an opening head tag, an opening body tag, and then subsequently closing tags. And mostly what we're concerned with is what you're concerned with what ends up in the body, and that's what renders on the page. So this example we've got here that says opening body tag, and then it says H1, some random thoughts, and then a P, nobody knows, and then a UL and some numbers underneath it. Those elements make up what we call the document object model, or the DOM. Not all, but most of what you do in JavaScript is involved with manipulating the DOM. That means finding elements on the page, reading data from elements on the page, maybe writing your own elements into the page dynamically. So if you've done maybe JavaScript in the past, maybe a long time ago, we'll break this up into the pre-Jquery era and the post-Jquery era. So if you had done JavaScript and web programming maybe in the early 2000s and Jquery was not around, it was a very painful experience, mainly because of manipulating the DOM. It was challenging. The different browsers implemented it differently, and it made it a little difficult to really work in HTML and JavaScript. These days, we have a library called Jquery, which is a JavaScript library, and its main focus is to make manipulating the DOM easier and to make it a single API, which is a single way to write your code across all the browsers. So we'll probably get into cross-browser issues maybe way down the road, maybe in a future topic. It's not really our focus here, but just know that the way that Chrome and Firefox and Safari and IE and Opera, all these different browsers, they are all executables. They're all programs by themselves, and each of them have to implement some code to interpret the DOM. So this little HTML snippet that we're seeing here, if Chrome encountered a page that had that, and in fact, that's what Ike had on his plunker. He had a simple little HTML page. When Chrome reads that HTML, it has to make a decision on how to render that on screen. Does it draw a bolded text? How big is the text? Does it indent things? Where are the line breaks? If you do a list of items, how does it render the list? All of those sorts of things. So each of the browsers do that differently. And so when we talk about the DOM, we're talking about the HTML tags that make up the page that you're building. And when you take that page and you load it in a browser, the browser then interprets that page and shows it on screen. And when you start writing JavaScript, a lot of what you do in JavaScript is to manipulate that DOM. So we may go and in this snippet here and say we want to find the H1 element and we want to read the text that's in the H1 element. So we can write some JavaScript to parse the DOM, which is just text, and say look for, essentially what we're saying is look for an angle bracket with an H1 and an angle bracket, and the text in between is what we care about. Now that is actually very complicated JavaScript to write if something like Jquery was not around, because of the cross-platform issues. So Jquery kind of makes our lives easier. So as we learn JavaScript, we'll undoubtedly learn Jquery, and you'll understand why that's a useful library. For now, really, what you need to understand is that the DOM, or the document object model, is the HTML for the page that we're dealing with. So in this case right here, that little code snippet, that would be the DOM for a complete HTML page.
Right. So you'll see that if we look back at our post, right? So we have our Learn JavaScript Properly post that we had up a second ago. So that will start in 2 weeks. So on week 3 and 4, you're going to learn about the DOM, which is the kind of the problem that cross-browser development and just navigating that it makes people cry. And so you'll see that in the DOM, and then you'll see the solution to that in Jquery on week 3 and 4, and you'll go through the Code Academy Jquery class, which I think you'll really enjoy. So even in a month, I believe that a month from now, you guys will be pretty decent beginner web developers. And then the next month right after that, you're going to be pretty good. You'll be really good, maybe borderline almost intermediate web developers at weeks 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. And if you guys really love this, Brad and I want to support you in what you want to learn. So Brad and I work in another group in San Diego where we meet in person called the Tech Immersion Group. And we're kind of doing the same track for them, but we're doing it live. We'll have 70 people come to that track. And what we'll do, as soon as they're done with this 8-week course, we'll be doing an intermediate and advanced course, and then we'll learn Backbone, Node, Express, Angular, and Mongo. So we have like a very aggressive schedule between now and the end of June for the San Diego course. We don't have that schedule here for the book readers that we're doing online. But if you guys are super active on the Google group and you guys look like you're into learning JavaScript and we keep the attendance high, and by the way, bring your friends into this. If you think this is cool, you have maybe a really smart kid in high school that wants to do this with us, they're invited. You have some coworkers, you think they would enjoy it, invite them too. And if you guys sustain your energy here, we won't switch topics. So if you say, oh, we really want to go to the next thing, intermediate and advanced JavaScript, we'll do that. If you say, hey, we really want to learn Angular or Knockout, we'll do that. If you say, hey, we really want to learn PhoneGap, we'll do that. And we'll do that until you're exhausted of this topic, and then we'll move back to a SQL Server topic like performance tuning or data analysis or visualization. But it's kind of in your hands. I hope you guys love it. We're really excited about it. And let us know if you have any questions or if you like what we're doing or if you have anything you want to add, please just add us. So, by the way, Brad and I are really easy to get a hold of. We both tweet, and I'm Ike_Ellis, and Brad has a name I could never really remember, but I follow.
Find me by Googling very easily. I'm a very easy to find person.
Yeah. So this is Brad, and he's how do you even say that, Brad?
Fuvanadil.
Fuvanadil.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
Now you know.
So, now I know. Yeah. So you can get Brad on Twitter. You can LinkedIn us if you want to connect with us. You can find us, on our blogs. And if you want, you can email me. I'm Ike@ikeellis.com, and or actually Ike@craftingbytes.com, and Brad is Brad@craftingbytes.com. That's probably pretty easy. All right, you guys. I think that's it for today. We're done in a half an hour. Real quick before I let you go, by show of hands, who's going to commit to an hour a day between now and then next time we meet in 4 weeks. Gary is, Lynn is, Owen, Vedran is, Brian is.
Yeah,
Good.
as you can. Good.
Yep, that's good. That's good. Okay, guys, I look forward to seeing you guys online, and thanks a lot for coming, and can't wait to see you again.